African Americans built capitalism in the same way that potatoes built McDonald's. The United States was 90+%, in my opinion, of course, white, almost for the totality of its existence. And you're going to tell me that this tiny group of people are the ones who made it great? Fuck off. It's my blood and sweat of my relatives that made that happen.
Can you name one black invention?
In terms of nouns, like literal things such as the light bulb or electricity or the internet, I can't say I can give you one. In terms of adjectives, I could give you loud, I could give you obnoxious, I could give you incarcerated. You see what I'm saying?
Do you have any more? Maybe actions?
Overweight. The average black woman in America is obese. Overweight, there we go.
180 pounds, yeah. 180 pounds.
Oh, wow.
On average.
Oh my God, I thought it was 160. That was, 160 alone is obese, 180.
In your video, you said, we don't need them, they need us. Who's they?
Yes.
Who's they?
The white people ultimately don't need other races in order to succeed, in order to be ourselves. Absolutely not.
So how do you think America became the greatest economic nation without...
Not through black people.
Oh, it wasn't? It wasn't because of free labor?
Are you talking about slavery?
How do you think America became the greatest economy that it did? How do you think that happened?
Through the genius of Europeans.
You say we don't need anybody else.
No.
But the reality is, America history proves you wrong. The fact of the matter is, there is no great America. You can't sit here and talk about that greatness without other people making that happen.
We could have figured out another way to pick cotton.
Who?
I mean, white people could have figured out another way to
Y'all tried that, didn't work. Yeah, I mean, we
do it now. We've done it previously.
I don't know what books you read, but no, that's actually not what happened. But you said y'all would have figured it out, but you didn't. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, people of color not going anywhere. So what is your vision for America? That is white land and the rest of us can leave?
I think that white people, Europeans, formed the core of American identity.
So why don't you go back to Europe?
White people as a collective group are insecure. You do not steal other people's culture if you are secure. You do not create a whole category of an identity to put yourself over another group of people if you are secure. You do not deport or kill other racial groups in order to maintain the integrity of yours if you are secure. You do not constantly try to separate yourself from the bad white people if you are secure. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because that insecurity manifests itself differently depending on what group of white people we are talking about, especially if we are talking about it on a political spectrum. On the right, it's pretty easy to tell where their insecurities are manifesting. We've talked about it extensively as a country. But on the left, I don't think we've explored that as much, and I want to point that out because I'm seeing it a lot right now. White people on the left side of things tend to hyperfixate on not appearing problematic. Because white people on the left side of things tend to have an awareness of the problematic nature of their history, they're more aware than the people on the right. So because of that, there's an understanding of the harm that has been caused. Because of that, if there's any issue where it could appear as if they are problematic, it sparks some level of insecurity, therefore a reaction that can either be compulsive or intentional. It is because of this that if there is a social justice issue that is getting a lot of public attention, and especially if it has a graphic nature to it, there are going to be white people that will not allow any nuance around understanding or reacting to that social justice issue. Because there is a hyperfixation.
Welcome back, everyone. Today's discussion is based on this video whereby there's this white man saying that black Americans need white people more than the other way around. Then instantly he's learning his lesson. So let me roll these clips. I'll be coming back with more commentaries because now statements like these, they often go viral and they spark strong reactions. So when someone confidently claims that one group needs another more, they are usually reducing a complex history, economy, and a society into a simple slogan. Real life is rarely that simple. Let me roll these clips. I'll be back with more commentaries. Stay tuned, and in case you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly consider subscribing, and please turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss on more discussions like this one. Stay tuned.
And concern at a quote unquote risk of appearing problematic in the response or their understanding to that issue. Now, there is a level of this that is understandable and appropriate, because there are times where the nuance does not need to be brought in by white people, because a lot of the times it's perpetuated by white people, the harm. But the issue comes in when you have a harm that is affecting people of color. Those people of color are trying to understand, unpack, and address it with some level of nuance that is needed in order to address something at a macro level. And you have white people that will not allow that to happen, even if they are not the ones being directly impacted by the harm. The development of whiteness is a fatal wound that white people have experienced and created for themselves. And it is something that I am very aware of when I talk about white people, or the concept of like white supremacy especially. I always say that whiteness is the issue. It is what is problematic. It is what is a problem. And that is what we need to quote unquote get rid of, not white people. Those are two separate things. Whiteness is a concept, is a construct that was created in order to push other people down and put white people above other marginalized groups of people. But white people within themselves being born with paler skin than me and other people of color, that in and within itself is not problematic. And you need to separate the two in order to get out of this level of insecurity, this pervasive level of insecurity. But going back to culture, specifically when it comes to insecurity with white people, I personally strongly believe that is why stan culture is so incredibly strong with white people. It is because there is a hole left in place for white people because of the replacement of culture with the concept of whiteness. Whiteness does not give you any fulfillment. It does not do anything for you. It is not a connecting force other than a connection in putting other people below you, whether it's something you actively or subconsciously participate in. But stands, fandoms, give you something to collectively orient yourself around. It gives you a connection point. It is something that you can identify with outside of your whiteness. Because of this, that is why I do believe that the particular, what I like to call the doxing Swifties, not the normal ones, not the ones that have some ability to operate outside of this, but the doxing Swifties in particular, especially the white ones, are the ones that have a big problem with this. There are other things of this nature. It is not just Taylor Swift that has a fan group or a portion of her fan group that operate in this way. You could have that argument about Star Wars. You could have that argument about a lot of different cultural groups that come together based off of some level of some element of media or music or whatever. But I strongly believe that there is a fundamental wound that white people have experienced that leaves them susceptible to this kind of behavior and this blind spot that happens when you're not able to allow nuance because of this, again, risk or paranoia about appearing problematic. Again, I'm not saying that that is something that is an issue all the time. In fact, a lot of times that caution is warranted. But at the same time, when you are having this caution in play, it is important that you are checking it when you are having it in relation to other people of color, especially Black people. I'm seeing that conversation a lot right now when it comes to Jasmine Crockett. Yes, that is what's sparking this. It is not problematic to want to have a conversation about what is happening here in the U.S. when it comes to who we put in office. It is not problematic to want to have that conversation because we are experiencing harm at a severe level and have been experiencing it for hundreds of years. And under this administration, it is getting worse. So yes, a lot, and I do mean a lot, of Black people care about what is happening overseas. I am one of them. I care about it deeply. I have been connected with people in Gaza that are no longer here. I care about what's happening in that damn country, I promise. We cannot ignore the violence that Black people alone constantly experience in this country, and it is only getting worse. It is not something that we can completely separate, but it is a consideration. So it is harmful when you have white people come into the picture and in their pursuit of moral purity in order to not appear problematic, there is a way that a lot of white people shut down very valid conversations that a lot of people of color, but especially black people in this particular conversation, are trying to have. Texas is violent to its citizens. Texas is a hub for ICE. Texas has done everything it can to siphon everything it can out of the citizens that are in this country. Texas is also in the South. So we have this issue where when things happen to us and things are really bad and we have things like ice storms and all these other kind of things that cause harm and people end up dying, we then have to suffer through the narrative of we deserve it because we voted for the people that made this circumstance possible, when we are one of, if not the most voter suppressed state in this country. I could tell you all day the harm and violence that Texans experience on a daily basis. A lot of the things that other states experience, whether it be the South, like southern states, it'd be red states, it'd be blue states, if they end up being touched by it as well, starts in Texas. It does. Do you know Greg Abbott is trying to put Turning Point USA in every school in this state? Did you know that? There needs to be a very, very honest conversation about harm and violence across the board, because we cannot put violence to one group over the other. It is all bad, which is why I say it is important that you do not look at things in black and white. It is dangerous to do so. And you have to be able to understand that two things can be true at once. We can hold very firmly that the violence that the Palestinian people are experiencing is horrific. We can also hold very firmly that the very subliminal or sometimes very overt racism that black people also experience in this country is also bad as fuck, because one is not better than the other. It's just not. All of it's fucking bad. We have to be able to acknowledge these conversations with nuance. It is incredibly important, because if you are not able to do it, it is fucking dangerous. I'm not doing this again. That is why I've said incessantly that I need the people that are not in Texas to take a step back when it comes to this Texas Senate race. Because you are playing quite literally with people's lives by doing it. So as a collective, I highly encourage white people to interrogate the culture of insecurity that is driving a lot of actions for you.
You know, one thing that history has consistently shown is that modern societies are deeply interconnected. Every community contributes in different ways, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whether it's construction, be it transportation, be it entertainment, science, entrepreneurship, or public service. People from many different backgrounds help keep society moving, and no single group carries everything on its own. And what often surprises people is how much influence consumers have. Every time people choose where to spend their money, where to support a business, or promote an idea, they shape markets. Businesses don't succeed simply because they exist. They succeed because customers choose them. Communities that organize around shared economic goals can have a noticeable impact, whether through supporting local businesses or changing purchasing habits. And another lesson from these conversations is that respect matters. And when people dismiss or insult an entire community, they often underestimate the value that community brings. You know, confidence without understanding can quickly turn into embarrassment when reality challenges assumptions. I also think it's worth remembering that social media may thrive on confrontation. Yes. So instead of asking who needs whom, maybe the better question is, how do different communities depend on one another? And the answer is that societies function because people cooperate. Employers need employees. Businesses need customers. Communities need public servants. Families need schools and healthcare systems. And the idea that any large group is completely unnecessary ignores how interconnected modern life really is. Respect is earned through actions, not through claims of superiority. Whenever someone argues that another entire community has got little or no value, history and everyday experience usually tells a different story. Every community has people who innovate, people who create jobs, people who serve in the military, people who teach children, people who care for patients, people who build infrastructure and contribute to culture. And the biggest takeaway from videos like this should not be about celebrating someone's embarrassment. It should be about recognizing that arrogance often leads people to overlook facts. Assuming that millions of people have nothing meaningful to contribute is rarely a position that stands up well when examined closely. And I'd also encourage viewers to think critically. Let's always think critically before accepting such people who talk like this. So, what exactly happened? Are we seeing this whole conversation? Yeah. So, at the end of the day, healthy discussions are built on respect and a willingness to listen, even when we disagree. Yes, and strong communities are not built by proving one group is better than another. They are built when people recognize each other's contributions and work towards shared goals. So I'd just love to hear your thoughts. Do you think social media encourages these kinds of divisive statements because they generate views, or do you think these conversations reveal genuine frustrations that deserve more thoughtful discussion? Just share your perspective in the comments, but let's keep the conversation respectful. And if you enjoyed this reaction commentary, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future discussions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Of course, all credit belongs to the original creators of the video. And this video is meant for educational purposes and commentary purposes as well. Kindly give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share this video so that it can get to a wider audience. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching to the end. Till we meet in the next